Hello, good evening, and welcome back. As Wales decide to go into full lockdown mode, as Gretchen Whitmer did in Michigan in America, telling stores what they can and can't sell, we find how an 83-year-old ex-housekeeper from Barnsley seems to now be the voice of the nation in terms of not giving a sod about tier 3 lockdowns and how this whole kerfuffle over COVID-19 and listening to the so-called experts with regards to Matt Hancock is far too overrated and you should let people get on with their own lives. And yes, that's from somebody in a high-risk group. So first, Wales lockdown, supermarkets told to sell only essential items. Supermarkets will be unable to sell items like clothes during the 17-day COVID firebreak lockdown in Wales. First Minister Mark Drakeford said it would be made clear to them they are only able to open parts of their business that sell essential goods. Many retailers will be forced to shut, but food shops, off-licenses and pharmacies can stay open when lockdown begins on Friday at 6 p.m. British summertime. Retailers say they've not been given a definition of what was essential. And if it's anything like in Michigan, then yeah, you can buy food, but you can't buy seeds. That's going to be cordoned off. It's like, but it's just there and I'd like to buy some seeds so I can be self-sufficient, so I can grow my own food. Yeah, that's not allowed. What is the reasoning for essential items? And, oh, crap, I was living in my house and then the floor fell through because there was a leak in my bathroom. I need to get some timber in order to replace that. That's not an essential item. I've got a hole in my house. Well, that's a shame. Oh, the roof caved in, the tiles fell off. There's a gas leak and I need a new pipe. Yeah, but that's not an essential item. Sorry. So who the hell are you to decide? How do you understand what an essential item is? No wonder they haven't given a bloody list, because there's far too much going on in order to understand what is essential and what isn't. Do you know how to know if something's essential? Do you know? It's because there'll be a profitable business selling that. Because if it isn't essential for people, then they're not going to be purchasing it, and there won't be enough demand for it to be a profitable business. Very straightforward. So, if they're going to say you can only sell essential goods, it just means they're going to leave you alone. Of course, for them it doesn't mean that, because otherwise you might realise just how useless government is, and that by them meddling in your life, they're only fucking things up. So the Association of Convenience Stores and the Welsh Retail Consortium have written urgently to the First Minister expressing alarm over the new regulations. Sarah Jones, head of the Welsh Retail Consortium, said, "Compelling retailers to stop selling certain items without them being told clearly what is and what isn't permitted to be sold is ill-conceived and short-sighted." But Plaid Cymru's Helen Mary Jones said, "Smaller businesses should not be put at an unfair disadvantage during the firebreak lockdown." Yeah, and if you don't want smaller businesses being put at a disadvantage, then stop with your lobbying. That's the only reason that these monopolies exist. It's because the rules are changed, because they're pulling the ladder up behind them once they've established their size. They're having special rules for them to make it more difficult for competitors to get their lion's share of the market. That is how the monopolies happen. So if you want that to be the case, then just leave them the fuck alone. It's as simple as that. And what has somebody in a high-risk group said about this? Well, from yesterday, she became a overnight sensation, if you will, because she'd been watching TV for weeks, and then she was interviewed herself, saying, well, what do you think? So, well, I don't give a sod about these restrictions. We travelled around, we came back, we lived through SARS. Some people wore masks, some didn't. It's up to you. If you're at risk, then by all means stay home. But hey, I don't have many years left. Grew up during World War II. And she said, life has to go on. The biggest thing is that all the people are afraid at the moment. This government have scared people from the start to get them into lockdown. That's what government does. They've got to create a false sense of needing them. We went out having meals at half price, and then we're looking at another lockdown. We can't afford it. All we need to do is keep safe and sensible. In my lifetime, I'm 83, I never thought I would feel like I was in Italy when Germany invaded. This is a free country, for God's sake, or I thought it was. I've had the virus. I had it at the end of May. I didn't realise until I spoke to the doctor. I had a dry cough and pains in my lungs, and it was very, very tired. And that's pretty much all there is to it, as she then goes on to say, I am fit and well, and I got through it. After 10 days, I was back to normal. I didn't consider it incredible. I'm a fit person. My husband has had it too, and he has recovered. And he's 81, 2 years younger. So again, both of them are supposedly high-risk groups. Are they concerned? Not at all. And also, as so many people have been saying, that if you are a parent, or grandparent, or great-grandparent, as she is, Maureen here, then you want what's best for your children. And so if that means, oh, things might be difficult for you, but you make those sacrifices for the sake of your children, then of course you do that. You do that in a regular life anyway. That you pick the job and the career and then the home life and the education then that you spend on that, and the clothing and the nutrition, the foods, the opportunities for your children, by sacrificing your own enjoyment, because that is what you do as a good parent, and it gives you a greater sense of fulfillment than seeing them go without just so that you can have a holiday away, for example. That is what a good, decent parent does. And the same thing goes here, that if there's a big lockdown and the old person is feeling a bit scared, then by all means, they can stay inside and shut themselves off. But that doesn't mean that the rest of their family, the rest of the country, has to be affected. And she puts it even more succinctly than this. She says, I look at it this way. I've not got all that many years left of me, and I'm not going to be fastened in a house when the government have got it all gone. How can we get the money on its feet? Money-wise, where is all the money? By the end of this year, there's going to be millions of people unemployed, and you know who's going to pay for it? All the young ones. Not me, because I'm going to be dead. And it's nice to see, and I suppose it's that stiff upper lip that the British culture tends to have. And so she's saying that, I voted for Boris and I thought the best of him, but hey, I don't blame him. I blame the people around him, especially Hancock. I think he doesn't know what he's talking about, and he's been influenced by Professor Whitty. They aren't in the real world. They just don't seem to appreciate what's going off in the country and is harming the country listening to them. And that's always the case with a centralised, planned economy, that they don't understand what is going on for individuals. They cannot understand you and your life better than you. When was the last time you spoke to Matt Hancock? I doubt you ever have. So how the hell is he going to understand what's best for you? Of course he isn't. He might have some ideas that affect all people, like, yeah, you probably need some food and water, but aside from that, it's pretty much it. He could pretty much guarantee the bottom rung of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And after that, of what really drives you and motivates you and what your goals are and what would help you achieve them, he hasn't got a clue, because he doesn't know you. The people around you, your community, your family, your friends, your neighbourhood, they will have a far, far better idea. And the people you work with, your colleagues, your employer, your boss, then yes, of course. And you can work through it that way because they know you, they interact with you, and you will work for what you earn. But somebody so many miles away trying to take care of 67 million people, it ain't going to happen. They don't know what's going on in our lives. They cannot decide what's best for us because they have no bloody clue. But it's nice to see the silent majority speaking up, if you will. And yes, just like it took a 94-year-old lady to come out without a mask with our good old Queen, it's taken an 83-year-old lady to come out as a member of the public to say, nah, I'm not really feeling it. I'd rather this didn't happen. I'm going to make my own decision. And turns out I would rather face the virus than have to be stuck inside. I would rather have that freedom and take those risks, even being in a high-risk group. So, thanks for that. I've not got long left, and I want to make the most of my life. Leave me alone. And hey, maybe the tide is slowly turning for the Conservatives to think, hang on, aren't we supposed to be based on freedom and liberty? And it's the other party that's supposed to be big government encroaching on your life. Maybe that's why we were voted in and they weren't. Maybe that's why we got such a big swing in the last election and Labour lost so dreadfully. Maybe we should go back to that. Maybe what we campaigned on, what we promised, is what people voted for, and we should do what we said. Maybe people would like us more for that. What a radical thought. A politician doing what they promised. That's why Donald Trump's so popular. But anyway, as always, let me know what you think down below. Always intrigued to hear what you guys have to say. And as always, until next time, have a good one.